This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, everybody, it's been a few weeks. Welcome back to the Lechtech Musar podcast. It's good to be here, and I'm excited to begin the new limud on Pirkei Avos with the Pirush of the Rambam. Mainly, we're going to be going through his Pirush. The art scroll is a great option, but you can use full Hebrew, and Mitzvah Shem will be elucidating with some insights from the great Mashkiach, the revered Reb Shlomo Volba, Zechon Tzadik Kodesh Avrocha. Without no further ado, let us jump right in. Okay, so this is a pretty famous Mishnah. The Mishnah begins, Moshe kibel Torah Sinai u'Mesar Yeshua. So the Mishnah begins with how Moshe Rabbeinu was makabel the Torah from Sinai, from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he gave it over to Yeshua. Yeshua the Zekanim, Yeshua gave it over to the Zekanim the Nevi'im, the Zekanim gave it over to the Nevi'im, to the prophets, u'Nevi'im Mesur la'Anshe Knesses HaGedolah. And the Nevi'im gave it over to the Anshe Knesses HaGedolah. And as we begin Pirkei Avos, which literally, as you may have seen in the promotional video, is in the footsteps of our forefathers, learning from the Tanoim, imaginably we should start off with something more ethical, more straight to the point, direct, something a little chavis of Avosdik, Mesilas Yesharim. We start off the history. Moshe was Mekabel Torah Sinai, gave it over to Yeshua, etc. This would seem to be a little bit of an interesting way to start off Pirkei Avos. So, beautiful pshat and insight from the great Rav Volba. Rav Volba asks his kasha, and he explains with the following yesod from Rabbi Yerucham Levavitz. He says that Torah is not meant to be a personal acquisition. This is extremely important, especially as we are nearing Yom Kabbalah Torah Shavuos. Torah is not meant to be a personal acquisition. Now that sounds counterintuitive. We think Torah is for us and to enrich our Yiddishkeit and enhance our connection with the Eibusher, which is all true, of course. But as we know, the highest level of Limud Torah is Lilmod Ulalamid, to give over, to teach. And that is what the Mishnah, the beginning of ethics, you want to know the most ethical teaching possible? It's right here. Moshe kibel Torah min Sinai u'Mesar Yeshua. Moshe Rabbeinu didn't chap it all for himself. He wasn't selfish and just said, I'm going to sit with the Eibishter, Pel, Daber Boy, and I'm just going to bask in Kadosh Baruch Hu's presence, and I'm not going to give it over to anyone. I'm just going to be selfish and take it for myself. No. We're reminded that the Torah is all about Mesorah. It's about us, but it's about giving over to others, to our children, to our friends, to our Tamidim, and we'll speak about it later. Not everyone has Tamidim, so how are we going to achieve that? How are we going to attain that? We'll get there. But the side of Torah is to be given, to be taught, and shared with others. And it's an achrayus, a responsibility for all of us to realize that we all have the capacity. We don't have to be Rabbeim, Rosh Kol, Rosh Moisad, Rosh Yeshiva, Menal. It can be simpletons, regular people, but we have to remember that we all carry this yoke, this old Torah, of perpetuating it, of sharing it, and giving it over to others. And that is super important because when we think, this guy's not interested, this guy doesn't care, what do I need to tell him of Var, what do I need to tell him of Machshava? It's our responsibility to inspire, to uplift, to give over, to teach whatever we can. To spread to spread Hashem's Torah, Hashem's knowledge. Hashem looked into the Torah and He created the entire world. If that's so, then we all, according to as we're learning now, we all have this responsibility to share, to give over, and really realize this tremendous responsibility. Misara Yeshua. That is the first thing we learn in Pirkei Avos. And that's what Rav Yerucham Levavitz is teaching us. That's the way we start off Pirkei Avos, with this extremely important, vital realization. So we go on, V'hei Mamru. So the Anshe Knesses HaGedolah, what do they say? Shlosh Dvarim, Hevi Misunim Badin, V'midu Talmidim Harbe, V'osu Sag L'Torah. We're going to go through all of them slowly. We're going to focus now on what does it mean, Misunim Badin. So literally translated, Misunim Badin means to be patient. means to go slow, patient in judgment, and this l'chayr would seem to be a mandate to Bezdin, to people of authority, to Rabbanim. But what does it have to do with all of us? So Rav Wolbe explains that there is definitely a personal message for all of us. It's not just judging others, but something very important is how we approach, how we judge ourselves. We have to be patient, yes, with others, but the Nakud over here is being patient with ourselves. A lot of times in our ruchnius, in our pursuit of greatness, in our pursuit of Avodas Hashem, we want to jump, we want to stride, we want to make big moves, be big and bold. We want to achieve what it says, go big or go home. But that doesn't seem to be the concept in Yiddishkeit. We're learning over here, Nisunim Badin. Don't judge yourself, don't be so tough, don't rush, don't jump steps. Take it easy, take it slow, and with that you will ultimately reach greatness. And that's the side of Misunim Badin, that when we're learning din, we're learning Torah, we're learning halacha, we're working on a Yiddishkeit, on our interpersonal relationships with others, whatever midah, take it slow, take it easy, and with slow growth, persistence, you will acquire and achieve. Beautiful to see what Rav Shlomo Wolbe has to say over here. Rav Shlomo writes that many people want to attain great spiritual heights and rectify every one of their detrimental midas all in a single night. We all feel that. However, the first rule in Avodas Hashem is that there's no crash course in Ruchnius. And this is Misunim Badin, be patient. I just went to a meeting, to a gathering, and there were a bunch of fantastic speakers. One of them was a very pretty famous figure these days. His name is Jonathan Donath. He is the founder of Daily Giving. And in his speech, he was asked, in the panel, he was asked, what's one thing you would tell everyone? If there was one thing we can take away, what would that be? And I thought, I wasn't expecting this. Maybe I thought he would say, give $1 a day to tzedakos, but he said something else. He said the aside that everyone should take away is don't forget about self-compassion. If you're listening to this video, to this shir, it's likely that you're working on yourself, it's likely that you care and that you have your finger on the pulse with your Yiddishkeit, with your achievements, with your growth. And self-compassion is so important because a lot of times we just want to grind more. That's a big word these days. Grind, hustle. And while that is important and it has its benefits, misunim badin. Take it slow, take it easy, and with slow steps, we can achieve greatness. And self-compassion means realize that you're great, realize that the strides you have achieved, the goals that you have accomplished, those are great. Relish in those. And again, go slow. We know the famous, when it comes to Yom Nerum, the famous Baalei Musar say that whatever your Kabbalah is, take that and split it into half, and then take that half and split it into another half. And perhaps Bisman Hazen 2025, we can say, take that half and split it again into half. But the side is take it slow growth, and then you'll achieve. Rav Shlomo Wolbe also says, growth in Yiddishkeit is like any other war, any combat. We want to accomplish, we want to conquer, we want to win the war. And just like in war, which unfortunately is very relevant these days, Hashem should protect and save us from all the tzaras and those that perished the past few days, Rahman al-Islam, and Hashem Shav and Aliyah, and Umach Hashem Dimma Me'al Kopanim, terrible tragedies that are going on, unfortunately, unfolding in our Yisrael. Hashem should save us all with Mashiach. Like planes in the Air Force, you got to fly low. If you go too high, they're going to be caught by radar. And it's the same thing with our pursuit, with our battle, with Avodas Hashem, with the Yetzer Hara. Start flying high, accelerating, escalating too fast, the radar is going to pick us up. But when we go under the radar, when we go low, then the Sultan is much more unlikely to chap us. He wants to get the people that are shooting for the stars. That's where the Yetzer Hara can easily foil their plans. But a guy who's going slow, he's like, you're going slow, you're nothing. He's not interested in those people because he knows those are harder. Those are people that are strategic, slow growth, which ultimately is usually going to result in authentic and long-term growth. And that's the side of Misunim Badin. Take it slow in whatever you're doing. Yaakov Avinu, the Sulam, was Darga. He had the ladder, and that this Svarim HaKadoshim speak out. That's a lesson that wasn't just relevant by Yaakov Avinu, by the Malachim, in the Chalim, in the dream. For all of us, we have that ladder that we want to ascend to Shemayim. We want to reach. We want to hit high. But there's dargas. There's rungs on the ladder that we must climb that are imperative, vital, and instrumental on the highest level to our growth. And if you don't take those steps, Khalila, we can fall, which we obviously don't want to do. And of course, Megelin Inenu, Rebbe Kiva, the Heilige Tano, he started his life, his pursuit of Yiddishkeit at 40 years old. It's likely he was discouraged by his peers and by all the other Talmidei Chachamim around him, and he said, how can I do this? Why should I even try? We can learn from his persistence. Mesunim Badin, Rebbe Kiva became the great Tana Rebbe Kiva, not because he got discouraged at the levels of knowledge and Yediyas and Talmidei Chachamim that he was surrounded by, but he said, I'm going to learn the Aleph Beis at 40, I'm going to take it slowly, and surely enough, he became the great Tana Rebbe Kiva. We can all do the same. If you are Mesunim Badin, take it slow, patience, and then we will see growth.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.